Never got a letter either time. Deleted all that. Emailing the TBN people. Tailbone. Not broken. Nothing broken there, only the first time I put my foot down. The toter I was using when I got hit by that car. It's steel, it won't bend back. And the crack above my knee, yeah, that's not broken either. That's the only place that bruised. See, there's the bruise. Another email I sent to the wrong address, but they charged me the same exact minute. Huggins died while I was sending all those TBN people news about the toxicteeth.org work. Same date, nobody would tell me what time Aunt Lois died. You'll see that number there a lot. Emailed him from the Wi-Fi at the Plasma Center, and Barb died that day. This was a guy that answered my ad and got someone else writing to him out of the blue. She died the same date, different year, that Jeff up in Left Omaha, 8/6 of 07, before the job was done. Kenny just got custody of his daughter because his girlfriend died a couple of days before that. Dave was crossing the street. That's happened more than once. Steve had my son's dog when we came back from Wyoming, and someone stole it from his place down by Carter Lake. They said he was in a fight about money before he died. See that date, November 29th? That comes up a lot too. It's my cousin's wife. This was my mom's girlfriend. Her nephew died just within a couple of days of her. Leo was a police officer in Omaha. I wrote his name down for every job application I ever did for a reference. His wife just collapsed in the bathroom and died one day. Stephanie Dean and James Kudlatz on the same obituary. I have her husband coming up. James Kudlatz died in prison. Judge Caniglia smiled every time I walked in the room. Possible heart attack. This is Dinker's Bar. Frank was Dinker on 29th and Castelar. Ellen Enfield, our landlady on 28th Street when I left my husband. Same date, April 27th as my son. Jeff Kochwar. See, I had them down wrong. I had them on November 29th, but it was November 3rd. Or something got changed in my records, of course. But anyway, it was Jeff's dad, and Susan, Susan, that died that day, along with Rose Bruning a different year. She's Mrs. Big Fred. So, Grandpa Fred died the same November date. Dylan Hayes was my son's boss's son. There's Geraldine, Stephanie, his wife. His daughter said they don't know why he died. Larry died getting shot out of a tree. He was a tree man on my son's birthday. Olivia was shot on my son's birthday and survived. There's Jerry Dean again. Anissa, that was his daughter's name that told me that. Mickey Pekka was a policeman also. I knew him when I was a little kid. My mom worked with his mom at Peony Park in the Little Chef. His son does the police reports now for the paper. Rob Gage was a lawyer that denied knowing my girlfriend, and she had him for a case. Oh, that was November 27th again. See that? Here's the day I got hit by the car. George Bogatz was my aunt's brother. The text messages. This was the first date they took all them charges off of my debit card for Octapharma card. More charges taken off while I was doing something else. the same date, the same time. They charged me for a game the same minute that I was emailing them about the $100 ATM charge. Stolen. Mr. Neely was a lawyer for U.S. National Bank. Downtown, I worked for him and his wife cleaning their house when my kids were little. She wrote me an awesome resume, a reference letter. Yeah, this was the first date they take them out. He deleted all the emails I sent out to all the TBN people. Didn't call in. Kirk's brother was another one of the victims coming up. There's the Yahoo sent all the TBN people 2 days solid. He deleted all of those. He deleted all the returned undeliverables. He deleted all the sents. He deleted all the records of those sent out emails. But the other ones are still there for different dates. Grandpa Hulsher, and then it was their dad, and then it was Billy. I wrote to this guy so I could take my book down there and people sitting in jail could learn. Looking through the pages. And there's Dad. Jeff and Billy's dad, Jeff, died that same day. I wrote it all down in a spiral notebook because digital can be deleted. There's the date they took the $100 from the ATM after I left the Dollar General downtown and came home. 2 hours later, the money that I earned that day donating was gone from my card, and the Wirecard company would never tell me what location the ATM was at. There's more deleted emails. Carl's sister had a heart attack, and another one died when I was leaving their place that night. Lutheran Family Services, my aunt died that day. Her name was Tylynn Lewis, the counselor. That's my stepfather-in-law, Fred Andrela. There's Huggins, died the same day as Zig Ziglar. And my cousin's wife, Janet. And Leonard Schrott, the kid's godmom's stepdad. There's Tylynn, with the time and date of my next appointment, which I called and canceled. Nicole spent a lot of time in prison for something she never did, but what she did do was show up to my daughter's birthday party when no one else did. Oops. Here's the credit report telling me that my email is compromised. If I worried about a credit report, it probably was there before 16. And there's the one in 19. Tried to contact someone else about all of this. There's Jeff. I got an email after I sent him a letter to the home office after he left. I got an email, was from Jeff at MySpace, wanted to be my friend. I emailed that same email address and it worked for several years. But I never heard from Jeff again. And the email box never filled up. See that name you already seen, Larry. These are just some coincidental dates. My uncle and Dr. Jack Wiseman from County Hospital, they were in the obituary together. But you see, Dr. Wiseman died on the 11th and his obituary didn't start till the 21st. Same thing happened to my aunt out there in Howells. It was 9 days later before they put an obituary in the paper. I think that means they had a coroner's inquest, don't you? This was another trucker that died on September 15th. There's Judge Caniglia. Look at that big smile. He would have been listening to my story here in Omaha. And this is considering on my computer that my documents are changed by someone else while I had them open. Greg Clark was my hostess's husband when I sold House of Lloyds. My daughter informing me about Billy Holscher dying on February 2nd. I wrote to the ombudsman's office and they called me and we talked on the phone for quite a while, and then he wrote a letter that had nothing to do with anything that we talked about. His name was Mark, the one that I talked to. This is a young man that was framed and put in prison for 90% of his life, and I know damn well he didn't do it. Because that's who he was. That's why he was a victim. Since he was a little kid. And nothing was ever done about this, a second suspect. Oh, and Ray Mabbitt? I met him back in '95, a police officer from Omaha, or Council Bluffs, except he was a detective back then. This is just friends of my young son's young friends. Oh, there's the knee cracked. But nothing broken. My daughter's car just all of a sudden popped. And she ran into a car. One day when she was moving from her house in Council Bluffs, a car sideswiped her on 30th and Dodge and pushed her into the next lane of traffic. She just ended up going to chiropractors for a few months. Fred Bohlmeyer and I went to the same church together, and there's Bober's wife up on top in the same obituary day. Jim Till was my pastor. When I got born again, he's the one that prayed with me and told me what it meant. On February 2nd, 1989, he won't answer when I write to him. I made a file for everybody's name. And I've been in the process of writing all those names down in a spiral notebook. Deborah was another one of my son's buddies' mom. She just all of a sudden just up and died. I know it happens every day. Jeremy Schneider. Wes Gates goes by Rex. This was his nephew. Supposedly killed himself. There's more of the email addresses that I sent the Consumers for Dental Choice Mercury Free News to. Here's some of the work of the master deleting my pictures. Like the people we've been talking about. Here's just, not a close-up of the database, but there's a lot of people on the list. Ta-da! What to do about this stolen business? Eric's dad just died last Saturday and housing kicked him out yesterday. A week. They gave him a week. But he went with me to 96th and Q because me being in a wheelchair got hit by a car. I was nervous about crossing busy streets. And the next day the police pulled him over, walking down the street, listening to his music on his earbuds. And the YouTube count went down. Now, normally the count only goes up. But the powers that be, he has all kinds of powers. There's the day we went to the computer store for a cord for Rose's computer, which then got stolen from her apartment. The original cord she had when I moved in, but it disappeared when the housing department told her she had to leave to send in people to clean. So they came back to clean again and took the computer with the cord and a brand new monitor and a brand new mouse that I got her at the thrift stores because the hinge was broken on her computer. Why would anybody want that computer? Contacted these people about my book, and looky there. 827 Maine. Those were lots of emails that I sent about the state of Maine changing their rules. Here's an example of the YouTube jumping to 789 views within a few hours. So yeah, he can fix them too. Got some duplicates here. Does that mean I don't have all of them that I'm supposed to have? Because my phone wouldn't take all of them. I had over 100. I came home on a Monday night and the fish was laying on a napkin next to the glass. And there's still another one swimming around in there. I actually contacted the police about that. That's my son's caricature that someone drew after he died. See that? The $100 ATM. He deleted all of that. Pictures from my book pages. He deleted them. One of my Facebook walls that I created. The state of Maine fixed a new rule. The dentists have to tell you they're using poison. And you have to sign a paper saying it's okay. More deleted pictures. This is times and dates and stuff of when those fraud charges taken off. There's a whole fat notebook in the other room. Trying to pinpoint everything I did every one of those days. And a friend of mine's son was arrested. Marion Carls. There's Wirecard that then changed to North Lane halfway through the fraud business. See how the numbers went up? All these numbers are bigger than I ever played. There's one of the examples of where I wasn't sitting around playing a game during getting charged. These are thefts from my last apartment at Underwood Tower, which is another OHA property. The bullet hole in the wall put holes in the mattress, but when I searched for the bullet, it wasn't there. And I wasn't at home. I took the trash up to the dumpster. And when I got back, my son's house was being robbed by gunpoint. And they held a gun to Johnny's head, who was maybe 7, 8 years old at the time. There's another one about Olivia getting shot in the head on my son's birthday. After Tom died, I wrote to the state of Washington because his divorce up there was forged by his ex-wife. Sorry you can't read all of the stuff because of the broken screen. My son was up in Washington with her a matter of a few months after they got married. And she was going shopping with all the Navy buddies. She was in the Navy and she wanted the money that the Navy gives you for rent. So she got Tom to marry her and then treated him like shit, so he came back home. And 4 years later, she divorced him. And 2 weeks after that, remarried another man in the Navy. Here's a text from my son before he died. Kenny Brummond again. Driving across the bridge, just lost control of his truck, happened to be right there where another truck was pulled over on the side of the road. He accidentally lost control of his truck just in enough time to run in the other one that was parked. There's Larry again. My water went bad last June. It come out smelling from my kitchen sink. Now it just looks brown. All the YouTubes I made about different things. Well, this duplicated a lot of the pictures. This is interesting. This is Pat Zerloin. She died on November 14th. Same as my aunt, the day I went to that counselor. Same as a couple other people, I'd have to look. But her name was Emily Patricia, and she went by Pat Zerloin. And then, this is her son, who died in jail. And they did all the cooking for Peony Park, an amusement park here in town. And this is her husband, Robert. Bob. I babysat Shelley when she was born. And this is another lady named Pat Zerloin, who lives in a small town in Nebraska. And she died the same date as Bob Zerloin, September 17th. Coincidence. I want to back that up. They didn't put his date in the obituary. Just double checked with their Gary Farrell. April 27th, his dad died. That's that same date as my son. And then Gary died on 7/7/7.